What separates the richest people on Earth from the rest of us? Is it luck? Talent? Ruthless ambition? In today's deep dive documentary, we explore the lives, decisions, and mindsets of the most famous billionaires the world has ever seen. From Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos to Oprah Winfrey and Warren Buffett. This is the untold truth behind the wealthiest people in history. Opening visual montage of luxury yachts, private jets, global landmarks, and news clips of billionaires. Text on screen. The Billionaire Blueprint. Secrets behind the world's wealthiest people. Part 1. Humble Beginnings and Big Dreams. Narrator. While the media often shows billionaires on super yachts or ringing the opening bell on Wall Street, most of them didn't start that way. Let's go back to the early days, the garage startups, the childhood ambitions, the rejections, and the first steps of what would become empires. Elon Musk, from Pretoria to the planets. Elon Musk was born in 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. A quiet child, often lost in books and computers, he taught himself how to code at just 10 years old. At 12, he sold his first software, a simple video game called Blastar, for about $500. But Elon wasn't satisfied with life in South Africa. He dreamed of bigger things, of America, of space, of changing the world. He moved to Canada at 17, eventually landing in the US to study at the University of Pennsylvania. But school was just a stepping stone. After dropping out of a PhD program at Stanford just 2 days in, Musk co-founded Zip2, an online city guide for newspapers. Compaq bought it for $307 million. Then came PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, but we'll get to that. Narrator. Musk's early journey reveals a pattern common among many billionaires: a hunger to solve problems, an obsession with learning, a complete disregard for the safe path. Oprah Winfrey, rising from the shadows. Not all billionaires were born into opportunity. Oprah Winfrey's story is one of pain, perseverance, and power. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi in 1954, Oprah was raised by a single teenage mother. Her childhood was marked by hardship and abuse, a path that would crush most people. But Oprah had a gift: the ability to speak, to connect, to inspire. By 19, she was already co-anchoring the news in Nashville. Her breakthrough came in Chicago with The Oprah Winfrey Show. But what made Oprah different was her ability to turn media into a mission. She didn't just interview celebrities, she created cultural moments. She built a brand around empathy, empowerment, and authenticity. From TV to magazines, books, and now her own network, Oprah became the first black female billionaire in history. Narrator. Her wealth didn't come from one invention, but from years of building trust. Her empire is proof that media, when used with purpose, can become a multi-billion-dollar force. Jeff Bezos, the relentless visionary. Born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1964, Jeff Bezos showed signs of brilliance early on. He turned his garage into a science lab, dismantled his crib as a toddler, and was obsessed with computers. In 1994, while working on Wall Street, Bezos had a radical idea: selling books online. He quit his high-paying job, drove to Seattle with his wife, and launched Amazon.com from a garage. Today, Amazon is not just a bookstore, it's the backbone of the internet economy. What made Bezos different? He focused on scale, customer obsession, and long-term thinking. For years, Amazon lost money. Critics called it a failure. But Bezos didn't care about quarterly results. He was building for decades ahead. Narrator. Most people think small. Bezos thought globally. He wasn't afraid to be misunderstood for a long time. Part 2. Mindsets of millionaires. Narrator. What do billionaires think about that most people don't? What's going on in their minds while others scroll social media or watch TV? We've studied hundreds of interviews, biographies, and documentaries. And here's what we found. 1. They think in decades, not days. Billionaires are long-term players. Warren Buffett, one of the world's richest investors, famously said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." He started investing at 11 years old. By the time he was 32, he was a millionaire. But the real wealth came later. Over 90% of his net worth was earned after he turned 50. Buffett didn't try to get rich quick. He mastered the slow game: value investing, compound interest, and discipline. 2. They see problems as opportunities. Where others complain, billionaires see solutions. Take Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She wasn't an engineer or a fashion designer, just a door-to-door fax machine saleswoman. But she hated visible panty lines. That pain turned into a product. She cut the feet off her pantyhose and created a prototype. Everyone told her she'd fail, but she didn't listen. She bet on herself. Today, she's a billionaire, and she started with just $5,000 in savings. 3. They don't fear failure, they chase it. Narrator Elon Musk once said, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough." Most people fear rejection. Billionaires expect it. Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba, was rejected from Harvard 10 times. Even KFC wouldn't hire him. Now he's one of the richest people in China. Many people start businesses, but only a few turn them into global empires. What's the difference between $1 million startup and a $1 trillion legacy? It often comes down to vision, leadership, and systems. Bill Gates, the software king. Bill Gates was not the best programmer in the world. He wasn't even the best in his college class. But what made Gates extraordinary was his ability to spot opportunity before anyone else. At just 20 years old, he dropped out of Harvard and co-founded Microsoft with his childhood friend Paul Allen. His big bet: that software would be more important than hardware. While companies like IBM focused on building computers, Gates licensed the MS-DOS operating system and later Windows to run them. Microsoft became the operating system for the modern world. Gates didn't sell a product, he created a platform. By 31, he was the youngest billionaire in history. Bernard Arnault, the quiet luxury billionaire. While tech founders make headlines, the richest man in Europe has built an empire in silence. Bernard Arnault is the chairman of LVMH, a luxury conglomerate that owns Louis Vuitton, Dior, Moet, Hennessy, Givenchy, Fendi, Tiffany & Co., and dozens more. He didn't invent fashion, but he mastered the art of brand control, acquisition, and prestige. Arnault buys struggling luxury brands, restores their identity, and turns them into profit machines, while keeping their mystique. His strategy: scarcity and story. Luxury isn't about utility, it's about emotion. And Arnault is a master storyteller. Mark Zuckerberg, scaling at the speed of code. When Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook from his Harvard dorm room in 2004, it was a simple site meant for college students. But Zuck saw something others didn't: the power of digital identity. He moved fast, raised capital, scaled globally, and perhaps most importantly, acquired the competition. When Snapchat refused to sell, he cloned it. When Instagram showed promise, he bought it. Love him or hate him, Zuckerberg proved one thing: how do billionaires think and act every single day? Their wealth is not just a result of their ideas. It's built on routines, discipline, and relentless consistency. We've studied the daily habits of over 50 billionaires and found surprising common ground. 1. Morning routines. Clarity before chaos. Most billionaires guard their mornings. Tim Cook, Apple CEO, wakes up at 3:45 a.m. to read emails and hit the gym. Oprah spends 20 minutes meditating, then journals her gratitude list. Jack Dorsey, Twitter co-founder, walks 5 miles to work and practices cold therapy. Why? Because mornings set the tone. Before the world's chaos creeps in, they invest in clarity and control. 2. Relentless reading. Warren Buffett reads up to 6 hours a day. Bill Gates reads 50 books per year. Mark Cuban reads 3+ hours daily. Reading is not a hobby for billionaires, it's a competitive advantage. They treat books as mentors. Every biography, every white paper, every annual report is a puzzle piece. As Buffett once said, the more you learn, the more you earn. 3. Health but wealth. Forget the stereotype of the out-of-shape billionaire. Today's wealth builders treat their bodies like assets. Jeff Bezos lifts weights and sleeps 8 hours a night. Richard Branson says kitesurfing and tennis help him stay sharp. Elon Musk, despite working 80-100 hours a week, finds time for cardio and a mostly plant-based diet. Why? Because high performance requires energy, mental stamina, and resilience. Without health, money becomes meaningless. 4. Focused work, ruthless prioritization. Narrator Steve Jobs once said, "Focusing is about saying no." Billionaires don't do more, they do less, better. They delegate, they automate, they eliminate. Every decision is measured by, does this move the needle? Is this my highest value task? Can someone else do this 80% as well as me? They build leverage systems, teams, tools, capital that allow their time to generate exponential output. 5. Deep thinking time. Many of the world's wealthiest schedule time just to think. Jeff Bezos blocks out empty space for idea generation. Bill Gates takes think weeks, isolated retreats with a stack of books and no internet. Naval Ravikant meditates and journals for hours, not minutes. The lesson: in a distracted world, focus is a superpower.